Hey folks, I made the video on annoying YouTube trends recently, and I'll be honest with you, it was partly prompted or provoked by a little tiny rash, maybe about 3 people, sending in criticisms over the Christmas period. I go a long time with goodwill from most people, and every once in a while I get people that in most cases make absolutely fair critical comments about this channel, and it's normally technical. Sometimes it's well deserved because I go through periods of struggling with audio, or I've been filming with my iMac, and it's probably not the optimal camera source, but it's just what I'm limited to at the moment. I have invested in a new USB microphone, and I might invest in other things to come, but you probably won't see me with all of the bells and whistles and lighting equipment, and doing thousands of jump cuts and really flashy YouTube stuff. And I've kindly replied to people making these suggestions that you've kind of missed the point of my channel. I want to kind of stay simple. I don't want to be bad. I don't want to put out unwatchable videos, so I will work on presentation to that point. However, I really don't want to rival some of these really slick channels and what they're doing, particularly as I made the comment in the last few videos back. A lot of these channels, I think, prioritize the slickness of their presentation over their content. And a lot of them I feel are pandering to popular tastes, and I want to kind of ignore, if you like, not completely, but not make the number of likes and subscribes my number one priority. I'm trying to cover content that I feel I'm doing a service by covering. So I'm a niche channel for sure, and I want to keep it fairly straightforward. Here I am, somebody who works on instruments, somebody that has a now 30-year history in different parts of the music industry, starting out with retail, moving to wholesale, into design, and working with making my own lines of instruments and distribution, importing, that kind of stuff, and doing restoration work as well. Now mostly limited to setting up guitars for resale, but sometimes doing restoration and restore work even today as time and space allows, and certainly into the future I'll be looking at that. And my perspective and how I see things, trying to stay current with the industry. So I had 1 or 2 people saying, you need to buy a new camera, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to work on your editing, which, I don't get upset and ban those people. I just politely point out, yes, I'm still working on getting better at doing this, but at the same time, I am not really looking to become one of those channels that has a whole team of editors, content managers, and that sort of stuff. I want to keep this sort of close, with an ear to the ground and current. And I'm not really brainstorming every week for titles and video content that's going to get 10,000 likes within 5 minutes. I've kind of given up on that, to be honest with you, and now I'm just trying to be thorough about what's going on in the world of instruments and guitars, particularly for working class folks who can't afford or don't have the means to buy up top echelon instruments in the 2,000 plus markets. I think there are lots of good vintage channels on YouTube that, when I want to learn about vintage instruments, I use them as a resource, and I'm not going to rival them because I'm not going to be as good at doing what they do. However, there are also a lot of people, concentrating on the budget world and what's affordable. But I still think that my perspective is a little bit unique, in that I'm coming to it from, somebody who works on these instruments and sets them up and gets inside them and that sort of stuff. And I know there are others doing that as well, but hopefully there's enough distinction between those channels to keep it interesting. I did get some great responses to the video I did on how the hell did that become a YouTube trend. I'll read a couple to you. Our good friend Randy Schardinger, who has a great channel, one of the best repair channels on YouTube, I think. And what I like about his channel as well, if I may put in a little plug for him if you don't already watch him, it is salt of the earth stuff. I mean, there's no wankery, there's no glitz and glamour. It's just an honest person who has a passion for repairing guitars, sharing their work with the public, and it's an invaluable resource. Particularly those of you who want to work on guitars or set up guitars, go sub his channel. I think it's one of the best, and he's a character as well. I think he's got a great personality. You can learn a lot. If you want to start a simple channel, watch his channel. I mean, he keeps you interested in what he's doing. Got nothing but respect for the channel. He says what pisses me off is people doing exactly what you're talking about and getting 100,000 subscribers overnight. Amazing. Yeah, it is a little bit frustrating how the pandering to popularity fools so many people. I mean, it's in all walks of life, though, isn't it? I mean, gosh, how many times have you heard the worst song you've ever heard, and then you see it becoming number one in the charts or something like that, or millions of people falling in love with it and posting it and sharing it, and you're like, God, this is drivel. It's the same with television shows. It's the same with films. I can't remember who said never underestimate the American public, the taste of the average American. There's sort of an aphorism floating around that along those lines, and it's true. It's not just American either. It's all over. Humans just sort of gravitate to we have a herd mentality, and you're always going to get that on YouTube. You're going to get people that just sort of follow each other and are easily pleased by these types of videos that are often crafted to do exactly that, attract the herd. But from those who are of us like Randy and myself, who are trying to present an honest channel and angle of the industry, sometimes it is a bit annoying. Electric Gypsy Blues, who I don't know, but I'm very grateful for his comment or her comment. There are 3 types of YouTube videos that are guaranteed to get a lot out of views, therefore are trends. 1 is a reaction video, 2 is VS or versus videos, and 3 is unboxings. You're absolutely right. Those do trend really well. I don't understand why unboxing videos are popular, but they are. People watch them. Maybe it's that moment of surprise that you're waiting on. I think they're really overrated, and I won't do them. The versus videos, I'm guilty of doing those, but I think there's an intellectual component to comparing 2 like things. I get annoyed by people who compare 2 completely unlike things and make outrageous claims. You've seen the videos. This $89 Licks Pro is as good as my US 70s Les Paul. No, it ain't. Unless you've got one with a broken headstock and you can't play it. So there's some outrageous comparison or shootout videos. There's some that are trite. Some that are just pandering, but there are some useful ones as well. When you watch, for instance, somebody comparing this $200 Les Paul to another $200 Les Paul or thereabouts, a lot of people will click on that because they're buying one or the other. or perhaps both, and so they want to see somebody else's experience. I get how valuable that is. So I've done a few of those myself. The reaction video, I'm guilty of doing those as well. I think reacting to something or responding to something you find intellectually engaging is viable. I think it's perfectly viable. Again, they can be trite. I did weigh in on the Rob Chapman thing. I did a reaction video. I have done reaction videos to other videos that I thought were engaging, and often in praise of them throughout the 2 or 3 years I've been on YouTube. But there are some that people are just name dropping and they're trying to bandwagon, if you like, off the back of a popular video. We've all seen those. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. K. Michael P. says, I can't believe I watched this unboxing, but you're right on most occasions. I like the expressions on some people's faces, but some things mostly not. I think I could make a better content, but who the heck cares? Well, I'd say that you should then. I suppose there is maybe some merit in that first view of an instrument and what your natural reaction is, or listening to a song for the first time. The payoff from all that build up is not worth it for me. And I don't put much stock in first impressions anyway. I often, even as a seasoned guitar worker type, pull a guitar out of the box and I'm impressed, and then when I get into the guitar and do setup and all that sort of stuff, I realize, it's not as good. It's pretty, but it's not as good as I thought it was going to be, or vice versa. You have the other. So often it's during the setup, which is one of the mantras of my channel, that you find the worth of opinion, in my opinion. Great stuff. Bigfoot Running says, I hope someone makes a reaction to this. I hope so too. I'd love to see it. Whereas Electric Gypsy Blues counters reaction videos are false to get views, or fake to get views. Some of them are, I suppose. I think, again, there are some viable ones. Anthony Lieband says, I agree, anything over a 3-second intro is annoying. That was one of my gripes on that particular video, is the overly long intro theme tunes or jingles. They're a bit self-absorbed, in my opinion. And if you watch that channel a lot, you just fast forward through it. J. McBastard, what a great name. I wonder if you have a tartan. I wonder if there's a Scottish clan, the McBastards. The guys from Lost in Vegas, I don't know them. I may have watched their videos. Sounds familiar, but I offhand don't know them. Are a pretty good example of a cultural bridge being crossed, the whole appeal being too smart, likable guys of a specific demographic getting schooled in different kinds of music, in this case metal and rock, but most of that genre is unwatchable. It is interesting to see people being introduced to a completely different kind of music that is not part of their cultural heritage, and you have to praise the open-mindedness of them willing to submerge themselves if it's an honest endeavor. Some of these channels, I think sometimes they found a little niche and they do it for the sake of building a channel, not necessarily because they're interested in that particular music. And also they pick music that's popular. You don't see people doing this with opera or Baroque 16th century Tudor music or something like that, or polka. It's always sort of somebody from one supposed popular background gravitating to another trendy background, which I suppose can be interesting. I think when you watch a whole song and somebody reacting to it, I don't get the why that's become a trend at all. And he agrees with me. One variation I don't get is the reaction video of people watching peak moments in TV shows. I haven't watched those. I think a lot of this stuff is a result of the loneliness epidemic, where people were living vicariously through other people's banal everyday experiences. That's a great point. Guitar gear companies where they play different songs and licks for each piece of gear. Yes, that is annoying, isn't it, when you see review videos where it's more a review of the player and his pedals than the actual guitar that they're playing, and we all know who's guilty of those things. Yeah, that's a really good point. I haven't watched the peak moments of TV shows because one thing I tend not to care that much about is TV culture. It's never been that interested. Films a little bit more, but even films, I enjoy a good review. I enjoy people, doing a clever, artful, thorough film review, but not enough to get into that world. I mean, it's just not my passion, although I can see how it's interesting for a lot of people. And then a large comment I saved for last. Kemp Guitar. I suppose you are a content creator as well. I need to check out your channel and will. A lot of times I discover new channels this way from your comments, so keep doing it. I thought I was the only one in the world tired of certain trends. Some YouTubers think they get more visibility by splitting the balls of the reviewer. What a great phrase. But the opposite happens with me. Yes, I'm like that with adverts too. When you see these adverts that are intended to attract you to a product, it has the opposite effect. I sort of memorize the brand and make a point never to buy that brand because the adverts are so annoying. I suppose it works also with certain YouTube videos or creators. I skip all of the video reactions that I see in preview. I just delete them, even though the YouTubers who grow and grow more and more, inserting content every hour just to be always present. The video reactions are truly the emblem of this society of talentless egomaniacs that define psychic vampires. Ooh, I like that. That's very pregnant phraseology there from Kemp Guitars. A lot to pick from that. The people that post content, just to stay in your feed rather than having anything to say, I might be guilty of that. I do post a lot, but I try to post interesting and meaningful videos. And I totally get why some of you skip certain videos. If you're not interested in ukuleles, you don't click on that one. You go to the next guitar video. Or if you don't like my psychological ramblings, you just skip those videos. And I'm absolutely fine with that. The talentless vampires, the psychic vampires, yeah, I can. We've sort of delved into that with the cult of popularity, I think, a little bit. But certainly there are people that, get a little bit of popularity and then they just become sort of a machine that keeps ticking over the viewers and likes and subscribes rather than, architecturally trying to build, something that has intellectual value in the field that they've chosen. So yeah, great comments there. And then an exhortation. Please flow forth instruments. Stay like this. Simple and direct. Don't put those studded lights of the YouTuber that grows and grows and grows up to bursting too. We like the simplicity and the essence of things. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning of this video, is that I'm not going to be one of these people that competes with these slick produced channels with their abundance of graphics and interspersed pop culture references and neat little video splices of television shows or film moments to sort of edify my points. I believe in the power of direct communication. I'm an English teacher, if you don't know. I don't use emojis ever, with nothing, because I believe they are a crutch that takes you away from being able to use language. In other words, if I want to get across that I'm angry, tired, hungry, I do it with language, not with some cheap little visual that becomes cliched over time. And I'm kind of the same way with the the making of videos too. I find it annoying where you get these intertextual references sort of bombarded. You get somebody talking about guitars, and then you get a splice to a Sylvester Stallone moment, then you get a splice to, you know, some sort of cartoon, and then you get like a second of a pop song. And I understand how some people need to do that to communicate, but for me, being able to use language and get your point across is important to me. And so I like to not look for cheap tricks in order to do that. And some people say, well, that's just being lazy. You don't want to do the editing work. That too. Yeah, I mean, I've got to do like 8 setups today. So I make my video and then go work on my guitars. I really don't want to spend hours and hours and hours crafting, you know, these videos with staccato moments to make myself look good. If my content doesn't do it for me, then I will suffer the pangs of being mediocre for my entire YouTube career, whatever you want to call it. I'm okay with that. I cut my cloth that way, and I'll mix my metaphors. I cut my cloth and eat my cake too, if you like. But anyway, thanks for those wonderful responses. I'm sure there'll be more coming in. Thanks for your criticisms too. They keep me sharp. I like the fact that certain people feel free, you know, to make points or offer advice. I never want to be beyond that. And then to the people that, you know, are telling me to, you know, keep doing what I'm doing and not get overly slick in my production and worry about becoming popular. Don't worry. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm concentrating right now on getting instruments to show you and talk about that I haven't been able to show you yet, and cover more ground in the array of instruments available in the budget world of instruments. That's what I'm working on. I'm not working on, you know, any sort of video gimmicks. I don't have any plans for any sort of gimmickry in order to make myself look better. I want to put these things on the channel and talk about these things in a meaningful way to where you watch the video or you click off and go watch something else. You know, I'm fine with that arrangement. So, all right, folks, thanks for watching again. Thanks for your comments. Thanks to all of you that chime in regularly. I do appreciate it. And I am getting around to watching a lot of your channels and hopefully commenting on your videos as well, because I know a lot of you also create content. So it's equilibrious. I want it to remain that way.